Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Why the hell does my door keep getting shut when I leave? Good God. Well. Anyway. Well, howdy, 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 Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this, another brand new day. And here, the Pacific Northwest in Washington State, the United States of America. Thumbs up for that. Glad to see you all here. I have no ideas why I decided to do that accent this morning, but thumbs up. I think there's a fly flying up. Well, no, there's a gnat at the very least. How's a gnat? How's a gnat surviving? Well, it's not cold yet. I mean, it's cold, but it's not freezing, and it's been raining, and there's a forest outside. There's been a lot of new bugs. So, yay. Anyway, though, I did not go real walkies last night, just went partial walkies last night, in that I didn't walk to Walmart and then back. I had to, it was very foolish of me. I had to pay my rent. My housemates were using my car, and at any event, I would have walked anyway, because from here to the rental place and then back isn't even to the post office, so not a long walk. So yesterday, I walked from here down to pay the rent, walked into the door and said, "Hi, I'd like to walk all the way back. I just forgot my checkbook." So I had to walk all the way back home, grab my checkbook, and then walk all the way back. Barely made it because I had left on the assumption that they would close at 5. So it was 4:30 when I got there and didn't have my checkbook. But they closed at 5:30, so I walked back, walked here, walked back there, and it was like 10 after 5. So I made it. Got my rent paid, but then I took another walk later on that night, just probably only about a mile loop up through southern Shelton. So I didn't do it all in one go. It was just like, three separate walks, and all together maybe 3 or 4 miles. But still, after sitting all day, sitting a large part of the day, and then going to pay the rent, and then sitting again, and then going for walkies again. Because when I came back, I just watched videos, played some mild games, and then went to bed. And slept pretty well. I don't know how, but I'm managing to actually sleep pretty good for me. Again, for me. I have to go to bed around midnight, sometimes later. And then even then, I wake up around 5. So, but I woke up maybe 3-ish, 4-ish, tossing and turning in bed. And then, hey, there's only so much you can do. Got up, drained my bladder, came back, fell back to sleep. Till about 5:45. 5:45? Not even that. 5:45. And then have been in here just... I did some minor tidying. I have had some stuff just piled up behind me, neatly piled up, except for the occasional plate or some such that I forget to remove before I record my intros to my videos. So I have I have dirty plates and such that need to occasionally be removed. But all that shows is I'm a human being, and I live in a human being's life. Thumbs up for that. But what exactly was I saying about that? I can't exactly remember. Still though, I got stuff done, and I've done things. Oh yes, I was saying, I cleaned up. So I've done some more tidying up this morning. Which is something I really should do daily, but instead I do like every 3 or 4 days. And I'm not a total pig, but I am not a clean freak either. I tend toward, if there's total clean freak, and then total there's something wrong and you're a hoarder and your house is horrific and vile, you know, most people are like right here in the middle. I'm probably just a little bit more this way toward the not so tidy part. You know, I keep myself clean. I keep my environments clean. I'm not military clean by any means. Definitely not. One of the reasons that when I was in the Air Force, 1986 was coming up on my time to decide, am I going to re-up? Am I going to get out? Then they had the 1986 Graham-Rudman Act, where if you weren't going to re-up and you were going to be getting out in 6 months, then you got out right now. I took a look at myself, how I felt living a military life, and it was just, I and a military life are largely incompatible with each other. Not because I couldn't do my job, because again, I got ribbons. I got people that... If it had been on merit alone, I would have been way up there in rank. But it wasn't on that. There were too many people in the Air Force at the time, that all of the services during the years that I was in. It used to be, when you went into the service, back in the time that, you know, in the 80s when I was in, and before that, leading up to that, it used to be, if you went in at E0, enlisted, you know, and everyone does, that's Airman Basic for the Air Force, and you're not like E5 at the end of your 4 years, they didn't offer you the chance to re-up your enlistment. You didn't show yourself to be motivated enough. So if you didn't make E5 in that 4 years, they let you go. By the time I got in, there were people that had been stuck at E4 for 10 or 15 years. And it wasn't that they didn't do the job. They were passing all the stuff that they needed to, showing that they should be promoted. But there were simply no positions. Nobody could move upward because there were just too many people. And so, in 1986, the Graham-Rudman Act, they got rid of a lot of people. Reduction in force. And I took a look, as stated, and decided that having to dust everything, you know, dust back behind everything, or else get in trouble for it, and then get re-inspected to make sure I dust behind everything. I mean, I did it, but I didn't like it. I can understand why they do it. I mean, it's tests. Because if you're told, keep everything clean, but you only clean so much, that kind of shows, you know, if you're doing that with this order, are you also doing that with other orders? How much are you just letting slide because it can't be seen? So in a way, it makes sense. Just, it didn't make sense for me. And so I got out. Now, I was lucky because I went in during the years just after, you know, Vietnam and all that. I mean, not just after, but Vietnam ended towards, the end of the 70s. And then I went in 82. And I got out in 86. And then all of the stuff started happening with, there was the Kuwait invasion and the Iraq wars. I was in that thin sliver of time when nothing was happening. Now, of course, we're stuck in the forever war with people who were born after the start of the wars are in the war. So, thumbs up on that. But a little bit of stories of things, times, rather than specific situations. Even though I tell you, there were some bad situations while I was in the Air Force because of my drinking. There were fine times. They were just bad drinking times. Like on one of the New Year's Eve sort of things, I had a whole bunch of beer bottles that I was trying to clear out of my room. Heineken bottles. There were these, I can't even remember what they looked like, but they were Heineken bottles. Because you could go to the Airman's Club and you could charge on your tab a case of beer. And so frequently, because to get to the actual store to buy beer was a long walk, whereas getting to the Airmen's Club was just a couple blocks, I would go there, charge a case of beer, pay off my charges at the end of the month. But I was trying to clean up because it had been a bit of a heavy-duty bit of celebration. Problem was, I was hammered while I was cleaning up. Problem was, I lived on the second floor of this dorm on base. Problem was, it was concrete floors in the stairwells. Problem was, I was, as stated, hammered. And I was trying to carry 24 bottles in a plastic container, and I kept dropping them. Luckily, they didn't break. They kept bouncing off the concrete floors. And that's a good thing, because more than once I fell and landed full force on top of the beer bottles, on top of the concrete floor. I'm damned lucky I didn't get stabbed with a beer thing and just end up bleeding out in the hallway. But finally, after much cursing, falling, picking up bottles, and just, it would have been a great thing in a movie, condensed down to its most ridiculous. But I finally got it all out. Oy. Now, one of my roommates and I, we kind of got in trouble. Because you could decorate your rooms as you wanted, to a point. And we turned into, from originally being really pissed off at each other because I had gone from a bad situation in one other room, needed to move, ended up having to move into this two-person room. They liked having a two-person room, and so when I became a third person in their two-person room, they were pissed off at first. And it took a couple of weeks for that to come down, and then I and this other fellow became best of friends, and the other fellow, he moved off base. But for the time that we lived together in that dorm room, we did great stuff. We had fun. We were lunatics. I mean, we had the weirdest stuff put up on the walls. At one point, we had a fishing pole that stretched, had the pole itself go across one wall and then bend across the corner onto the other wall. The fishing line came out, and then the hook went into the eye socket of this hand puppet that we put, blood on the eye socket, not real blood, fake blood on the eye socket, and then stuck that up to the wall. And we had all sorts of weird stuff like that. We had to take a fair portion of it down after the, dorm commander, person who's in charge of the dorm, did his inspection and just didn't like what he saw. So, oh well. But we did tons of stupid stuff. At one point, I remember we were on the second floor. Down is like the parking lot, concrete. And we were dancing in the windowsill because we were hammered. I mean, I was, 22 years old? So, yeah, get out of here, Nat. So, happy days. But I worked customer service because I worked as a travel technician, which is to say I worked in finance when people would go temporary duty or permanent change of status, permanent PCS, permanent change of status. I can't even remember, service. Something like that. You had your orders, permanent, you went PCS, you went from one base to the other, or you were separated from the service, or you went temporary duty where they sent you someplace and then you came back. When you got back, you filled out a travel voucher saying how you moved and how you moved. That sounds like it's doubled, but it's not. That's like you'd say, how you moved, I went from my house to the airport. How I moved, I took a taxi from here to here. So you show where you travel, how you traveled, if you drove, you wrote how many miles it was, and then when we would sit down and work out the actual math to determine how much Uncle Sam owed you for your use of your money. So if you drove and it took $10 worth of gas, and we determined that that by the mileage, you say you took 7 miles, but the Army Engineer Corps says that's only 5 miles to get here from there. So we're going to pay you for driving 5 miles. It cost you $7 for gas, but here's 5. That sort of thing. Or if you had to pay for your housing, we would pay for the housing up to what you were allowed to do for your job, your rank, where you were going, that sort of stuff, and then reimburse you up to what Uncle Sam said was done. And I worked customer service. I helped people fill out their vouchers, and then we would do the math on the vouchers. And I was one of those people. I thank goodness that I am nearly ambidextrous, because I would use my left hand on the calculator, and then I would use my right hand to write. So I would look at the stuff, tickety, and then write down the answers. So I'm just moving like this. Everybody else is having to look at the figures, put down their pen, type out the stuff, get the answer, pick up the pen, write it down. Whereas I'm just look, tick, write. Look, tick, write. That was nice. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people for having left me a comment. My usual spiel. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your username. I'm an American English speaker. It is a range of 20 to 25 because... and I'm not reading the comments right now. I'm going to read them afterward. Right now, I'm just thanking you for having left a comment. Yay! I'm trying to cut the extraneous stuff down and the non-extraneous stuff, keep that up. But Con in the house, thank you very, very much. And Southwest Strangler, 420, thumbs up and thank you. Dead Days, greatly appreciated. Some guy named Jamie, oh my gosh, that was a long ways down. A Batty, greatly appreciated. And Ice Damon, thumbs up and thank you. We have 7-6, thumbs up and thank you. Kathy Kitscat, greatly appreciated. Isaiah Silva, thumbs up and thank you. Stephanie Balbuena, I sure hope I'm close. Easy Q, thumbs up and thank you. Quietish T, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. Sebastian Ferris, thumbs up and thank you. Confused Owl 29, greatly appreciated. Paladin Walliam, thumbs up and thank you. I'm having a lot of fun. Esau Nagar, I sure hope I'm close. Thank you so very much. Sombra Kolomar, sure hope I'm close. I will miss you though. Thumbs up and thank you. Colin Reisenauer, as soon as I get money, I'm going to check out Mozart and the Whale. I don't like pirate stuff, so. And then JDK Kittrell, greatly appreciated. X good old Smurfa X, thumbs up and thank you. Adrian Bryant, greatly appreciated. Then we have, oh, Hokey Smoke, ASAP Frostbite, thumbs up and thank you. A7 De La Cruz, greatly appreciated. And last but not least, Green Seba. I can only hope that I actually hit 25. I hit a spot there where I wasn't quite sure because I had to stop and think, and that breaks my concentration. I get confused, but thank you all so very much. It is greatly appreciated. Get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people. Thumbs up and thank you. My wrist is really sore. I did exercises again the other day with my dumbbell, and I did wrist exercises, so my wrist is sore. It had been months since I'd done it. If you could check out my various links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com, NearlySeniorCitizen.com. If you could donate to my GoFundMe campaign or become a Patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. If you could donate to my PayPal, that's there if you don't like any of the other suggestions. And I have an Amazon wish list that it would be very cool if you can check out. I've got things like hamster food, cat food, and then other silly things. It would be nice if you could check that out. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled, but if you could, that would be very awesome. Now, if you cannot donate, or you simply do not donate, that was a nice parenthetical, wasn't it? I do take all good wishes, and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest, so thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I do appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence, and of course, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very cool, greatly appreciated. I would understand if you did not wish to, but if you're down with it, I will do my very best to keep you entertained from now until the literal end of time. Woof! Well, I've got this video. I'm going to be doing another game video that'll stretch out over the weekend. Hopefully it'll be something that people enjoy instead of like my collapsed roguelike video where, oh boy, if that was like an adrenaline shot, I wouldn't even feel it. So few people watched either of those ones. I think I lost money making those videos. Thumbs up for that. So, well, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, my friend, and that is a very good thing, and it absolutely is. So you have the best day you possibly can.